Hi everyone, this is Lara Hammock from the Marble Jar channel, and in today's video I will give my summary and takeaways from the book Tell Me No Lies: How to Stop Lying to Your Partner and Yourself in the 4 Stages of Marriage by Doctors Ellyn and Pearson. Full disclosure, I'm currently in a year-long training through the Couples Institute on the couples counseling model originated by Ellyn and Pearson. The training is absolutely wonderful for a number of reasons, but it also predisposes me to appreciate this book that they wrote together in 2000, since I can place it in the context of my learning. So here's the overall map to my book videos. I give an overview, which covers a quick summary of the book, the audience, and some background on the authors. Then I go into the structure of the book, my recommendation and why, and 5 to 10 takeaways that were either surprising or new information for me. So let's get started with an overview. This book is about lies told between partners in a romantic relationship. It acknowledges that lies are both inevitable and constant and can either nurture or destroy a relationship. Intent is important in how harmful a lie can be. Lies intended to deceive, protect, or derive gain for the teller of the lie are almost always going to be problematic. Lies intended to flatter, protect, or encourage the partner can be more nurturing. The authors make the point that couples tell different kinds of lies depending on what developmental stage their relationship is in. The model of therapy originated by Ellyn and Pearson, who are psychologists who happen to be married to each other, is called the developmental model of couples therapy. And it's based on the principle that couples develop through natural stages that somewhat parallel the developmental stages of a child's development. So each stage comes with its own challenges, but most couples who come to therapy are stuck in the stage of symbiosis or wanting their partner to be more like them. The audience for this book is ostensibly couples, but I'm guessing it's been read by a lot of couples therapists as well to help guide their work. Okay, here is how the book is structured. The first 3 chapters set the stage. Chapter 1, Truth and Consequences, gives an overview of the book and some basic facts about lies. Chapter 2, The Complex Lives of Husbands and Wives, goes into the types of lies that are told in the context of a romantic relationship and talks about how they can change the relationship dynamic. Chapter 3 is my favorite chapter and is all about the Lie Invitee, which I'll go into more in my takeaways. The next 7 chapters go through the stages of couples development and talk about the kinds of lies that are typically present in each stage. One chapter is going to deal with what happens when that stage is going well, and the next deals with what happens when that stage is going badly. So for example, the honeymoon is the first stage. Chapter 4 talks about lies that in that stage when things are going well and is subtitled So Sweetly Self-Deceived. And then the next chapter talks about lies when that stage is going poorly, which is entitled The Dark Side of the Honeymoon, So Anxious for Happiness. So then they go through each stage, emerging differences, seething stalemate, freedom to explore, freedom unhinged, and finally, together as two, which you can't really get to if things have gone badly in the other stages. Finally, they wrap everything up in Chapter 11 by providing a user's guide to telling the truth and hearing the truth and why it's worth making the effort. Do I recommend the book? Yes. It is chock full of great information, case examples, and practical steps. Do I think reading it will rescue you from a marriage that's been poisoned by a lot of lies? Well, like anything else, information is great, but putting it into use takes a lot of emotional regulation and growth, which isn't easy to do alone. So I would recommend working with either an individual therapist or a couples counselor to create an environment and an attitude that invites honesty into your relationship. I do think it's a great resource for couples therapists to understand how to deal with clients where deceit is a big part of their issues. Okay, here are my takeaways. First, honesty inculcates your relationship against stress. I love this idea. It's under the what doesn't kill you makes you stronger principle. Being honest in your relationships is oftentimes not pleasant, but it fosters resiliency and it galvanizes your relationship against issues later on. Most lies are said not because they want to deceive, but because they want to keep the relationship the same. In most cases, the express purpose of the lie is not, I want my partner to believe something that's not true, but instead it's, I want to avoid conflict, I want to uphold a fantasy of perfection, or I want to convince myself or my partner that our differences are not important when in actuality they are. The end result might be deception, but that's usually not the initial purpose. Takeaway 3, Lie Invitee. So this is one of my favorite concepts in this book and is covered in depth in chapter 3. The idea is that there are two sides to every lie, the person telling the lie and the person inviting the lie. Each person has a different goal. One is to be truthful, and the other is to create an environment where truth-telling is encouraged. So how do you discourage truth-telling and become a lie invitee? Lots of ways. But here are some of the examples of lie invitee behavior. Getting really emotional. So that includes anger, blame, yelling, sarcasm, crying, martyring, anxiety, seeking reassurance. Withdrawing, which includes shutting down, walking away, plugging one's ears, getting confused, pretending to listen, or engaging in addictive behavior. And lastly, being overly demanding or rigid. Speaking of, don't. Don't is a word that invites lies. People love to deal with blacks and whites in relationships, but they are the fastest track to being lied to. So here's the difference between don't ever smoke and it's really important to me that you don't smoke. The latter allows for different preferences and goals while still acknowledging one partner's truth. Problem liars. Just because it takes two to lie doesn't mean that all lies or liars are created equal. Some people are problematic liars. They manipulate the truth. They constantly change their stories. They parse language or terms. Think about Bill Clinton's, that depends on what the definition of the word is. So these folks take lying from a bad habit to a personality trait, and they can be slippery and untrustworthy. Some red flags are feeling gaslit about what constitutes a lie and constantly being told that you have a problem with trust. And then there are felony lies. So these are egregious lies that signal at best that a relationship is in real trouble and at worst, emotional abuse. There are 4 categories of felony lies. Infidelity, in this case, the kind that goes on for a while. Financial, hiding bank accounts, debt, or failure to pay taxes. Secrets, hiding significant parts of your life like a second family, children from a previous relationship, a criminal record, or major health concerns. And cumulative lies. So chronic, repetitive lying that builds up to become felony lies. Hostile gridlock. A pattern of avoidance and lies can land a couple in hostile gridlock where every interaction is passive-aggressive and there is constant fighting. The way out of this is not to continue to fight more, but to back up and reassess. The last chapter gives ideas on how to start being more honest and tolerating more truth in your relationship. Little echoes. So I like this concept of little echoes. It refers to the small voice in your head that has something to say every time you tell a little lie, kind of like a little parenthetical disagreement. So little echoes are an indication that you are not telling the whole truth. And here are some examples of fairly benign lies with the little parenthetical echo afterwards. I think that's a great idea. I actually really hope that doesn't happen. Or, I'm so glad your sister can come for a visit. I hope she doesn't stay too long. Self-esteem is based on candor. I had not thought of this, but each time we tell a lie, we brush over, camouflage, or hide a part of ourselves. Self-esteem is created by allowing our unvarnished truth to be heard, understood, and accepted. So the practice of honesty is a practice of building up our own self-esteem. In conclusion, I found this book to be interesting and enlightening. I finished with a better sense of why we lie, the types of lies we tell, and how they can affect a relationship. And I'd love to know what you think. Comments are always appreciated, and thanks for watching.